Please help support the channel and purchase PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds at the affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and I have been very fortunate to be in a relationship for the past 8.5 years and not have to worry about dating anymore. Dating sucks. It's horrible. Both my girlfriend and I have realized that, and we're very happy we are where we are. Not to say it doesn't have issues from time to time, but every relationship does. But we've both said that we are glad that if we don't have to date, because dating is the worst, especially when you look at a story like this, because this is happening very frequently, and it's something I want to say many men out there have dealt with over the years, especially when trying to date in the modern age, and not just the modern age really, but probably any age. This has been a thing, but now it's not being done in shame. It's being blatantly put out there to an extent, and this is only going to probably drive some men to go further on their own way, to go full MGTOW and everything else. It says here, beware of foodie call dates that are just in it for a free meal. Yeah, this is a bit of an article, but we get a couple good examples here of what to basically kind of avoid when you are trying to navigate the ocean of love using any kind of dating site or app or anything else. It says here, when Olivia Balsinger first moved to New York after graduating college in 2014, she wanted to experience Manhattan Sex in the City style. Like many millennials working at entry-level gigs, however, she was limited by a shoestring budget. Yeah, that's pretty much everyone when you're in your early 20s and you're working at a job that's an entry level. You're all on shoestrings. What makes you think that the men are any different? When I took girls out for dates, I would try to be nice, but also be practical about it. It's like, oh, maybe we'll find a good place that's having a nice Taco Tuesday deal or something like that. You want to make it work. But then again, as the guy who's the one trying to court the woman, we're oftentimes footed with the bill. She says, I was in a job that barely paid my rent. Balsinger, now 24 and living in the East Village, tells the Post. Yes, because, you can't just go and find a better job or like someone for their personality, right? That is that. Going to nice restaurants was out of the question. I barely had enough money to go to a nice grocery store. Yeah, my girlfriend and I for the longest time didn't have any money. We went to the Dollar Tree. We went to the 99-cent store. You go where you have to get food. But this is such an entitled mindset, it feels like. I can afford to go out. I can afford to go and see New York in all of its style because I've chosen to take a job that pays me just barely enough to cover my rent. So what does she do? Rather than scrape by on bargain rice and beans, which, hey, look, you throw in a tortilla and a little bit of cheese on that, you're not paying a lot of money, and it's a good meal. She decided to seriously try a friend's humorous suggestion. Meet guys on Tinder for the sole purpose of scoring free meals. And you wonder why people get bitter, why men in particular get bitter when it comes to the dating process, when they're treated as just a free meal, and that is it. Those free meals start to add up. And yes, there is the old adage, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you meet the prince, which could apply to both genders here. It still is one of those situations where you're going like, hold on here. Like, I only have finite resources myself. If you want to get a free meal, yeah, no. Soon Balsinger was meeting men up to twice a week for nourishment-driven dates at pricey bars and restaurants. If you want to enjoy the city, but you don't really want to waste 2 hours of your paycheck on eating out, she says. So it's pretty easy to just kind of say yes if someone's offering to take you out. Now, granted, look, I'll be fair here. If someone's offering to take her out and she takes him up on it, does that make her a scumbag? Yeah, a little bit, knowing this is what she's going to go do. But at the same time, it does take two to tango in this scenario. And the poor sap who's paying for the meal is the one also offering to pay for the meal. And that is entirely on them. This is a two-way street. This is an equality issue. Both parties are equally retarded. She recalls one evening when a 30-something European man squired her to a celeb-studded seafood spot catch in the meatpacking district, where dishes such as truffle sashimi cost $29. This is all just New York speak to me, and it's just, yeah. She admits she had zero attraction to her date. She chose him merely because he seemed successful and lonely, two factors suggesting he'd be happy to pay for her company. That see that's a bothersome thing for me right there. Like, I can understand the idea, the game behind it. I do. I understand it. And if the dude's willing to pay $29 for just truffle sashimi, whatever the hell that is, I get it. I do get it. It's on him too. But like, that is when she's not doing this because someone offered. She is specifically targeting men because of these attributes that she deems there, and to get them to do things for her. That is a predatory nature. That is scummy. And I you know, at this point, it's like, there's clearly probably eventually going to be, no, there's been lawsuits. There's been that guy who threatened a woman a few months ago, because she left a date early and stuck him with the bill, you know, and everything else. So it's like, yeah, you're going to see more things like that as more people like this chick come out and tell their stories about, you know, targeting lonely men in order to get free food from them. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, the dudes are the victims here, but no one ever actually wants to say that. When the bill came, she says, I can only imagine what the cost was. Probably like a month of pay from my job. She says of the 5-course meal she savored that night. When the bill came, she coyly fumbled for her clutch in a faint attempt to pay her half of the meal. As expected, her date swept in and took care of the tab. Well, that's his mistake, I'll tell you that. It's a good thing. If I had been forced to pay, I probably wouldn't have been able to eat for weeks afterward. So then don't put yourself in that position where that gamble might not have paid off, right? That gamble might not have paid off, but let's be realistic here. Let's be honestly realistic as adults and have this conversation. The likelihood of you flirting up a storm in order to get him to pay for the meal, feigning interest in him, even though you had no intent of going home with him or seeking any kind of long-term relationship, or even, I don't know, even a second date to see if maybe you would have had enough interaction or enough chemistry to warrant a second interaction. You probably did just enough to lead him on, just enough to where he would then pull out and pay for the rest of the meal. And and then she says she and her date never saw each other ever again. Yeah, probably because she deleted his number and then blocked him on Tinder. You know, I'm not saying this guy is entitled to anything, because I don't believe that is ever the case. But maybe he's entitled to a little bit of human fucking decency. That could be something. But clearly you didn't get that from this girl right here. With the rise of dating apps, it's never been easier to order up a foodie call. According to millennial survey app Wink, in a survey exclusive to the Post, 44% of young women have swiped right on a date because why not? It's a free meal, even if they weren't attracted to the person. But yet, toxic masculinity is the problem. Patriarchy is the problem. But when you have predatory natures like this of women that are targeting lonely men strictly for their wallet book, and no one is calling them out for that kind of scummy ass behavior, that's a problem. Like, I'm going to be giving birth, you know, I'm not going to be giving birth. My girlfriend will be giving birth to my daughter, our daughter, in a few months. And I hope to impart upon her the understanding that, you know, that men who are going to want to date her are human too. Not everyone is going to be great. Not everyone is going to be bad, but, you know, still human decency comes into this here. If you want it to be given to you, you have to also give it in return. Equality is a two-way street. This is just some really scummy behavior. It goes on to say here, for singles stuck with a tab, the economic toll is considerable. On average, New Yorkers shell out $2,069 a year on dates. F that noise. Straight up. Even celebrities have partaken in the practice. Yvonne Orji, star of, or Yorhi, I don't know how you pronounce her last name. I'm going to go with Orji because she's clearly done this kind of stuff, so, you know, screw her. Told the LA Times in July that she regularly dated for free food before getting her big break, saying, I used to do foodie calls. I know it's bad. A foodie call is when you're not necessarily interested in the guy, but you're also very interested in eating that night, and times are hard. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there in Los Angeles. Do you know what I had? I went and I had ramen. I went and I had rice. I went and I had, you know, I'd go to the store and I would buy like a couple pounds of ground turkey meat, and I would make that last me all week long. I would make that last not only me, but my girlfriend. You know, we would eat very crappy because we couldn't afford it. We would occasionally go out and have ourselves, Thai restaurant if we could afford it. And that was a rarity given the circumstances. So I don't give a crap if times are tough. You don't sit there and go on these foodie calls, because it really does reinforce the stereotype that women in that position are just money-grubbing gold diggers. And that's it. I mean, you basically, and I'm just going to say this, and I would even say this to my own daughter at the right age, you're kind of a whore for food. You know, like you're kind of like, that's the best way to describe it. This kind of behavior is just sickening to me. It's sickening. I'm not saying that dudes have never preyed on young women in other ways or that anything else, so people have done this kind of crap to one another in the courting process. I'm just saying I don't agree with any of it. And this kind of article where they're kind of glorifying it, you know, is one of the things that's bothersome. It's one of the reasons why, like I said at the beginning of this, men will be reading these kind of articles and going, screw that, and going their own way. And then women sit there and they go, why can't I find a nice man? Why can't I find a nice man? Why am I 33? My eggs are drying up. I can't find a man. I need a man. Because you were, I don't know, maybe one of these ladies in your 20s that were preying on nice men because you wanted to catch the big fish, or you wanted to eat at a nice restaurant, but you know, so you just took advantage. And then you wonder why down the road karma decided to slap you in the face like a big ass salmon and then, you know, make you lonely. It's just one of those things where it's kind of like you reap what you sow, to be fair. She said that she was quick to clarify that these transactions were one-sided. It's very difficult from a booty call because that really ends after dinner. Singles like Andrea, 35-year-old marketing coordinator and foodie call enthusiast, says her targets understand the deal. Oh, they did so much BS. We both played this game. I act coy and you woo me and spend money on me. The Cobble Hill resident who didn't want to disclose her last name for professional reasons tells the Post, women make 75 cents to a man's dollar, and until the wage gap stabilizes, it is more than fair game for guys to... Oh, you. Oh my... Okay, for one, the wage gap is an absolute myth that's been proven time and time again. That is such a BS answer. That is a BS answer that is just used to justify your predatory nature. You might as well go like that. That's basically the equivalent of a rapist saying, well, she was asking for it. Like, she knew what was up. Like, they knew what was up. They were totally asking for it in that regard. Like, you know, I mean, I was at the pool. They were at the pool. They knew what was up. They knew the game. They knew the game. They played the game. That's such a predatory stance. I can't even believe you uttered that aloud. And no wonder why you didn't want to give your last name so people wouldn't actually be able to find you later on. Because that essentially is you admitting to predatory behavior. And yes, me likening it to what a rapist might say is definitely not adequate at all. But you can see the point I'm trying to make. It's that level of BS. Oh my God. Andrea says she goes on 3 foodie calls a week. Wow. Her favorite spots are Dream Hotel downtown as well as Catch, and I'm pretty sure everyone there knows what she does. She's going to be known as the foodie call whore going in. Guaranteed. People go, oh, she's here again. Another date. You know, another date. Basically, at this point, all it's going to take is for, and this is, you know what, screw it. This is my recommendation. I don't know if, I think these are in New York. If you happen to be a MGTOW living in the city of New York, go to those restaurants, the Dream Hotel downtown, as well as the Catch or any other one, and just put a little note in the bathroom. You know, like, are you on a foodie call? Leave. Don't pay. No, men, take back your equality. Pay only half the meal, right? Like, do something like that and see if it has a damn ass impact. You know, because if you could turn the tables on these people, then you might actually get some straight up equality when it comes to the dating scene. It's such an annoying factor. It's not just single women who are going on subsidized dinner dates. Alex Bryn, a 26-year-old publicist, has gone on dates with gentlemen who seem likely to handle the check. There's lots of places to eat, but my budget doesn't always allow me to try them, says Blinn, who lives in Park Slope. A great way to supplement my budget is to go on a first date, even if I'm not personally feeling it. And yeah, it's the same concept there. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. If you are engaging in a predatory nature to score a free meal, it doesn't make you any better of a person. You're still a scumbag. One man he met at a bar offered to take him to Porterhouse, an upscale steakhouse in Columbus Circle, where a slab of New York strip can set back diners $60. It was very expensive, he says. I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it. Yeah, no crap. Blinn's cost-conscious dating habit has occasionally led to something more. In 2015, he met a guy that took him to Little Park, a tiny restaurant that serves $25 trout outside the Smith Hotel in Tribeca. Blinn was smitten, and the two were together for almost a year. I would honestly argue to an extent, which, by the way, this is Alex Blinn right here. There, that's that guy right there. So he at least owns up to it and whatnot. But I mean, he probably is, probably goes into it hoping he might have a connection. I feel like the other two girls go into it simply hoping that they get a free meal, and then maybe they can, go to Olive Garden and get the steak meal with, or like the spaghetti meal with the take home or something. There's a great episode of Master of None in the first season with Aziz Ansari when he goes on a date with a girl and she's a foodie, it's a foodie call, and then she uses him for like extra food and like takes it home and stuff like that, and he doesn't ever call her out on it. And like I'm like, that's like, I would have completely called him out on it. Like, nah, I'm good, you pay for half. Honestly, by the time before I even met my girlfriend, I started just paying for half. I stopped paying for the whole thing. There wasn't a point for it anymore. I'm like, if you're not feeling the date, you know what? Here's how you know if they're into you. Pay half. Go Dutch. If they pay their half, then they are clearly enjoying themselves and they might want to see you again. If they try to make you pay for it, or they kind of guilt you into paying for it, well, they might be, a foodie call whore. Nevertheless, Balsinger on firmer financial footing as a matchmaker at a dating service. Oh my God. She should be nowhere near dating. Says she now prefers low-key dates and generally offers to pay her share of the bill. Oh, but now it's okay. No, she should be making up for all the men she's hornswoggled. Yeah, I use that word. Hornswoggled out of dates. She should be using that as complete karma here, Go back and pay for everyone else. That's not to say she regrets her former tactics. Saying New York is its own ball game. There's an impress factor that guys think they have to live up to. They want to talk to a pretty girl. Girls are offering their time and conversation. So that's what? Your time and conversation is valued at the cost of a meal? Shit. Nah, that's just such a BS argument there. It's the same notion of like the people that like put their PayPal information at the end of a tweet. Like, I just explained to you, my time is worth money if you pay me. Like, no, like, don't engage or whatever. It's just, it's so predatory, but they're trying to explain it away. Oh, it's really not that big of a deal. No, it's a big deal. For any singles worried about being used as a meal ticket, Balsinger says this suggests a low-cost date such as hanging out in Central Park and observing how matches react. Well, no, that I do agree with. If your match says no to a simple activity, that's a red flag. Some of my best dates have involved a bottle of wine from Duane Raid or whoever that is. So at the end of the day, and this would be, I guess, a girl right here, the foodie, so happy. Oh, I'm so much better. No, you're a predator. You're a predator who is now kind of going back, looking through the old days of being a predator and just reminiscing. A part of me wonders if you have trophies from all the people that you've taken money from for dates, or you've taken food from dates. That's my question. That's what it feels like to me. This is not a practice that should be celebrated or one that should be discussed with any kind of just, positive side of it. There's no positive side of this. Dating is a war zone. Absolutely. Dating sucks. Absolutely. But when you sit there and actually try to target men who you don't necessarily like, but you think will pay for your deal, you pay for your meals, you are a bad person. It doesn't matter if down the road you're like, well, yeah, like I did it, but I don't do it anymore. It's like, how are you making up for that karma? Are you contacting all those guys and asking to cover half your meal now that you're more financially stable? That would be the right course of action. But no, you're not going to do that. You're going to do this interview with New York Post. You're going to go about your day, hopefully meet a man and tell these funny stories down the road. But it doesn't change the fact that you and people like you, these foodie call people, are legit freaking predators. Well, gang, that wraps up this video. Be sure to leave your thoughts below in the comments, as I love to read them. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, links below in the video description. We have Patreon, PayPal, Amazon affiliate in the beginning of the video, as well as Bitcoin now. During the apocalypse, anything helps. I greatly appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.